Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pinnacle Professional College. And today I'm bringing you another lecture in strategic case study. And today we'll be talking more about treasury and cash management. So let's go straight away into what we have for today. Now, we cannot talk about treasury management and cash management without talking about risk. One of the reasons why we manage cash is to be able to protect ourselves against any risk that may be impending, right? And so we'll be going through some of the risks related to treasury management or cash management. Now, when we talk about treasury management is basically, as the name implies, treasury, which means a storing place for cash. So treasury management is essentially the tactics and tools and the hedging mechanisms that individuals and organizations use to be able to manage their cash properly. And as I already mentioned, the management of cash is important because there are all kinds of risks out there that can decrease the value of our cash. So it's always important to manage our treasury in that sense. So let's begin with foreign exchange risk. When we talk about foreign exchange risk, in short, some people call it forex risk, foreign exchange, so forex risk. Now, as you can see on the slide, it says many companies make foreign exchange transactions with their banks. The need for foreign exchange arises from international trade and international investment, right? So you have typical situations where organizations and individuals would do business across borders. So let's say someone living in the US wants to trade with China, right? If they want to trade with China, then it means that they will need the Chinese currency to be able to do that. And so this has foreign exchange implications. And because the foreign exchange currencies of different nations go up and down or fluctuate, it also creates some form of volatility, which is a form of risk. Now, a company buying goods from another country might be required to buy in a foreign currency, as I already mentioned. So let's say a local businessman from, let's say, Nigeria or Ghana wants to buy things from China, right? They would need a Chinese currency to be able to do that trade. So a company buying goods from another country might be required to pay in a foreign currency, such as the domestic currency of the supplier. So whoever this local businessman is doing business with, they may be required to use the domestic currency of the person that's supplying them the goods. And therefore, the local businessman must obtain the foreign currency to make the payment, right? So the local businessman, another example, operating in Ghana, wants to buy some things in America, right? They would need the American dollar to be able to make those purchases or to be able to make the payment. Now, a company selling goods abroad might price the goods in the buyer's domestic currency or in another currency, such as US dollars, right? So any company that's selling goods abroad, they might decide to price the goods in the buyer's domestic currency or in another currency such as the US dollar. So a typical example is in Ghana, where we see real estate prices being valued in dollars. So a lot of very, very posh homes around Accra are priced in dollars. So the person selling the property decided to use another currency, which is the US dollars. This has implications though. When the customer pays in the foreign currency, the company might sell the currency received in exchange for its own domestic currency, right? So let's say you want to buy in Ghana, for example, you want to buy, let's say, a property in Osu. You want to buy a property in Osu. So, and properties in Osu are usually valued in dollars, right? So as a buyer, you would need dollars to be able to make the purchase. So for these dollars, you get your dollars, let's say it's $150,000. You pay the owner of the property. Then the owner of the property can either decide to hold that payment in dollars or convert to cedis. And that's what we are talking about here. When the customer pays in the foreign currency, the company might sell the currency received in exchange for its own domestic currency. A company investing abroad might need to obtain foreign currency to acquire or to make the investments. Now, we already talked extensively about this, right? So foreign exchange risk, essentially, what is it? As I've explained this, you might have an idea of what it is, right? So it's important to get an understanding of it rather than just memorize it. So foreign exchange risk is the risks individuals and organizations face as a result of trading internationally or making investments internationally that require foreign currency. It is the volatility that individuals and organizations are exposed to as a result of doing business or making transactions in international currencies, right? So that's foreign exchange risk, foreign exchange. And that's why you hear a lot of talk about the Ghana cedi compared to the US dollars. If the Ghana cedi is constantly depreciating, then it becomes an issue. The cedi is not powerful. And so if you have to get a lot of cedis to purchase few dollars, and that makes importation very expensive or imports very expensive. So these are some of the things to think about when it comes to foreign exchange risk. Now let's move on to translation risk. Translation risk is slightly different, and it usually happens in organizations that are huge and have reached in different countries of the world. So translation risk arises in international companies with foreign subsidiaries, right? So if you look at a typical organization would be, let's say, Microsoft, that has companies with foreign subsidiaries all over the world. Now, what it does is that it exposes the income statement and the balance sheets of the subsidiaries. Now, let me explain. In this slide, you can see that I said income statements and statements of financial position will be denominated in the local currency of the subsidiary, right? So, for example, Microsoft has its headquarters in Seattle, Washington, in the US. Now, Microsoft will have different subsidiaries in different parts of the world. So, for example, Microsoft is in Ghana, but if a Microsoft is in Ghana or even Nigeria, right, what's going to happen is that Microsoft Ghana or Microsoft Nigeria will prepare their income statements and balance sheets in Ghana cedis or Naira, respectively. It will be denominated in the local currency of the subsidiary. That's what we mean here. To be denominated in the local currency of the subsidiary, right? So their reports would be in the local currency because Microsoft is based in Ghana or in Nigeria. I hope that makes sense. Now, where the translation risk comes in is that upon consolidation, right, huge organizations like Microsoft, which has multiple subsidiaries across the world, would, all of these subsidiaries will prepare the reports, but these reports have to be consolidated. Now, when they are consolidated, they will be translated into the currency of the holding company. Right? Now, if upon this translation of the financial statements from the local currency to the currency of the holding company, it is in this translation that lies the risk, right? So in this translation, you can see losses or gains that may arise due to exchange rate movements, right? So let's say Microsoft has prepared their financial statements in cedis, right? Now the cedis has to be converted to dollars. Now, if the cedi is not that strong, then what's going to happen? If the cedi is not that strong, then it means that Microsoft is going to get few dollars, right? Few dollars, because the cedi is depreciating. The cedi is depreciating. Now, translation risk is therefore the risk of losses arising on the translation of the financial statements of a foreign subsidiary to the currency of the parent company, into the currency of the parent company. So you are translating the financial statement of a foreign subsidiary into the currency of the parent or the holding company for the purposes of consolidation. Right? It's very, very important. So that's what we mean by foreign currency. What we mean by translation risk. That's what we mean by translation risk.